and welcome back to the Look Mum Hustling podcast. How you doing? I feel like I haven't actually seen you all week.
You slept in this morning.
I did.
And I went and worked nice and early, so maybe that's why we haven't seen each other. At least today anyway.
Yeah.
Been hustling all week. That's what the show's about.
Yeah.
Hustlers.
And the evenings we've been quite busy as well, doing our own separate things, which is, what you want when you live together. You don't want to spend 24/7 together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Distance makes the heart grow.
Fonder?
Is it fonder or stronger?
Fonder.
Is it fonder?
It is fonder. Yeah.
Ponder.
Ponder, longer.
I'm pondering if that's a real
saying or not.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. You type in, it'll be an actual quote. Type.
Says it's correct.
Yeah. No, but it has been a pretty busy week. Like, we've obviously been working on your main business, my side business. We've been editing videos. But yeah, trying to prep for the pod, and just like all of a sudden Thursday and Friday just came around and we're just like, oh.
Mad respect to anyone that does a podcast and does more than one episode a week, especially if you're doing like more than one interview a week.
Oof. Yeah.
And you have a main job on the side, well, your main job as your main job, and this is a podcast as a side. Mad respect, because it can take a lot of time.
It can, yeah. Because you want it to be, we want it to be interesting for everybody that's listening, but we also want it to be like engaging for each other and just being able to have that chat and stuff. So it's always, it's that balance between like finding, articles that are, hit that spot that hopefully other people will like, but also that we're interested in as well. And I actually tried that Artifact app this week. Yeah, because you recommended it in the last episode.
I did mention it and recommend it last episode, but it's now tailoring a lot of junk to me.
Oh, really?
Just a lot of Camila Cabello wore this dress to this party, and this actress wore this dress, or it's just like turning into like fashion now.
And entertainment.
Yeah.
Interesting, because I wonder if it's got like a paid for aspect to it, so people like paying to promote potentially.
There could be a pay to play aspect. Potentially.
But yeah, I was using it because I was using like Feedly, and then I was using InnoReader, and then I was using Artifact this week just to sort of see like the comparison between, and a lot of similar articles do come up, but there was like, one or two that I found in all the different three. So
it's hard because even if you have an RSS feed and you've chosen, like I follow whatever, like Business Insider or Forbes or Bloomberg, you get a lot of junk in there anyway. Like I can be following like a Bloomberg business RSS feed, but you still get stuff that's not really businessy anyway, and it's kind of falls into sport or whatever. So it's hard to get, like, I feel like there's still a massive opportunity there for different apps and feeds like that to feed you better news and just to have an algorithm format or present you with better options, because it's still a bunch of junk coming in there.
Yeah.
So interesting. I mean, other than that, you just got to go and find it on your own, which again is part of like the podcast research, is trying to find interesting stuff to talk about. And if you have to scroll through or past 30 not so interesting headlines to get to one, it can take a lot of time.
Yeah, and what I find really interesting as well, like trying to find those articles, you'll have a whole bunch of like different news companies or websites or blogs that will sort of talk about the same thing, but just try to, make the heading like more catchier or more like clickbaity to click on it, and you just read and be like, this is just an average thing. Like, why? Yeah. Why even bother?
It's just marketing.
Yeah.
Which is something I'm like kind of interested in at the moment, or learning about. Something that we always have done anyway, because we sell things online and we also try and produce content, and there's a degree of marketing stuff to that. So I'm just learning and reading about that whole world at the moment. There's digital marketers that have been around since like the early 2000s that are in their 50s and stuff now, that have just been doing blogs for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy that they've seen so many different waves of content and marketing and digital platforms come and go, but they're still around. So longevity.
Yeah, because what's the book that you're reading at the moment that sort of like ties into the whole marketing aspect?
I'm reading Everybody Writes by Ian Handley. She actually gave me a follow on Twitter this morning because it has a picture of Archie on one of the posts.
Aww.
And she must like dogs.
I mean, Archie is probably the cutest dog, so why wouldn't you?
Interesting book though. I think I might do a review on it at some point. Probably not here, maybe on my main channel, or speaking of blogs, I'm trying to like get my foot in that door. It's actually interesting. I've started a few websites and blogs in the past for different little projects I've had.
You have,
I didn't realize there was a website called Web Archive, or I think it's called the Wayback Machine.
Oh, really?
And it, like, archives different websites from over the years. So if the hosting stopped being paid for, you can go back, and it basically does like a time capsule or a screen grab of the website over periods of time.
Yeah.
I think there's probably a cutoff at a certain year, like when it's considered like a vintage website. But yeah, you can go back and look at some of the previous websites I've done. So I might make that a video or something, like just failed blogs in the past.
Yeah, maybe.
So looking at building a new one out for myself. Probably need one for the podcast as well.
Yeah.
But there's the whole rabbit hole of what web host am I going to use? What blog platform am I going to use? That's a whole time sucker in and of itself.
Yeah, to do the research and find the right one, because I'm in a bit in the same boat. Like, because I've been writing a little bit more and wanting to write more. And I've been umming and ahhing whether to do a Substack, but you mentioned the other day, it's like, why not just have it from your own platform kind of thing? That way you have the full control over it.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where it's same as like Notion. We use Notion, but at any moment, Notion could just go belly up. Investors could just like not give a fuck anymore. Mm-hmm. Same as Substack. It looks like if you follow some of the bigger accounts on Twitter, Substack's sort of on the decline now.
Oh,
it was booming for a little while. And it is a good way to make money if you want to have a paid newsletter. But essentially, like the value of their business is like not really projected to go heaps further.
Gotcha.
Like it's not just going to keep growing exponentially. Mm-hmm. And they do take a cut, I think 10% or something of what you pay or what you get paid from your readers. Mm-hmm. Whereas there's other websites and stuff where you just pay your monthly fee and they don't take a commission off the top. So like I've built websites on WordPress back in the day, which requires coding. So I know a little bit about coding. Mm-hmm. I've done a couple on Squarespace, which is more drag and drop sort of functionality.
I was going to say like Squarespace is probably like the biggest one at the moment because there's so many like podcasts that promote it, so many, YouTube videos that promote it. Wasn't it Adam Driver at the Super Bowl had like a weird Squarespace ad as well? Yeah. It was like an Inception sort of style, like a website that builds websites.
That's pretty interesting ad actually.
Yeah.
Well, that's marketing, right?
Yeah.
So kind of in that world at the moment, learning about that, might make some videos and stuff. So it's kind of interesting, right? Like it's easy to neglect how important or just to not consider how important writing is.
Yeah.
It's the primary like communication method.
100%. And there's like a big fear around like, chat GTP, like ruining writing for everybody. But I don't really think so. Like there'll be an aspect that'll probably, help with people's ads and marketing and stuff like that. But I think actual proper creative writing from a real human, I think that's still going to be all right. And then Jack Dorsey, right? He's just released or just opened up his new version of Twitter, I suppose, which is, again, a writing-based platform.
Okay, so you have added a link here, so that was a pretty good segue. I'll give you a 10 out of 10 for that.
Thank you.
I did see the headline. I haven't looked into it too much, so you can maybe run us through what the dealio is. Jack Dorsey's Bluesky Twitter alternative hits the App Store. So he's, as far as I know, all I really know is it's a decentralized Twitter alternative, whatever that means. And I think it's invite only at the moment.
It is, yeah. So it's members only. So is it just going to be one of those like super elite Silicon Valley invite only type scenarios where it's like the top 1% can only use it?
Well, that was like Clubhouse. It was hard to get an invite initially. When you got in, it was just...
That's right. Someone had to refer you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you had to get referred to get in, and then just everybody was in there. So
it adds that scarcity mindset. It's like, I got to get in. I need to find someone who's got an invite. Like rather than just everyone just flooding into it immediately, it's a staggered onboarding of users, which is probably a better approach long term. Mm-hmm. You don't want everyone to just go onto it overnight and it blow up and it's in the media cycle for 24 hours. You want it to like spread out over weeks and weeks and weeks as new people on board, new members come in, start posting and stuff. That way you can spread the news cycle out.
Yeah. And I guess in this way, it actually, that initial batch of people going on actually want to be on the platform and actually want to try it and actually want to test it, like actually be interested in it rather than just, signing up for it and then just forgetting about it and not looking at it for like 2 months.
So the Bluesky app reportedly offers similar features to Twitter, including a home timeline of posts from people you follow, a discovery tab, and a feed of recently posted Bluesky updates. Posts can be replied to, reposted, liked, and reported. Despite similarities to Twitter, Bluesky doesn't sport even the bigger names found on alternative social sites like Mastodon.
So they don't have like those, top people sort of on there just yet.
What's different about it? What makes it's a functional, bare bones Twitter-like experience? There's not a lot on this article.
No, because it's only just been announced. I think it's almost like the OG Twitter. Like he's making like the original Twitter again, you know, where it's like just stripped down, just typing. You can, you know, report it if you don't like it or like it if you do. And it's just like that streamlined timeline. Maybe it's just maybe he's just like getting or like maybe he missed, you know, the original Twitter of what it was back in the day and is sort of just like starting it again from like the OG version and then building up from there. But yeah, interesting name, Bluesky, considering like the Twitter logo is a bird and it's blue and birds fly. So I wonder if there's sort of like some connotation to that.
Well, blue's like the most calming color, right?
It is.
So it's like blue sky.
Look at the little birds in the logo.
So, so this, from the website itself, I mean, we should probably try and get access to this to give it a fair and honest review. The web, email, RSS feeds, XMPP chats, don't know what that is.
No.
What are all these technologies? What all these technologies had in common is they allowed people to freely interact and create content without a single intermediary. So that's where the decentralized component comes in. There's not, I guess, not someone controlling everything.
Interesting.
Same as like, I guess like a blockchain social network.
Ah, yeah.
Which is kind of, we use that, remember we used to use Steemit?
Yes, I found my password to that the other day in some old like posts and stuff, yeah.
And that was basically a social, well, if anyone's listening and into like crypto or blockchain, probably 2017.
Yes.
That's when that second sort of Bitcoin hype came through, the start of 2017. And just prior to that, we were using a website called Steemit, so STEEMIT, and it was basically a social media platform or like kind of like a blogging Facebook type platform where you actually get paid based on how many likes and interactions you got.
Yes.
So I just wrote a bunch of like nutrition blogs. I think I made like $400 off it.
I wonder if you Google it now, you might be able to find it. Like it could still be up. You never know.
Well, it got like disbanded. The original owner changed the whole course direction and what they wanted the platform to become, and they changed names and sort of offloaded it into another company. But we did cash out prior to that point. Mm-hmm. But I guess this is from a more credible founder that everyone's like more of kind of a household name, not quite.
Yeah.
Jack Dorsey's not in everyone's Rolodex. We're building the AT protocol, a new foundation for social networking, which gives creators independence from platforms, developers the freedom to build, and users the choice in their experience.
Interesting. Well, considering like Twitter got like when Elon Musk like took over, like there was all this like, you know, government intervention and all that kind of thing. So it's interesting that he's sort of like making it as if that won't be able to happen. So it's all like a free-based platform.
Do you want me to sign you up for the wait list?
Sure. We'll see how it goes. Web developer, open positions.
I don't think we're skilled enough for that.
Oh, you just give my email live on air.
No one's seen it. They can't read the screen. That's the benefit of this setup.
All right.
So, no one would have seen it if you hadn't mentioned it. So now you just put yourself in the crosshairs.
That's fine.
So that could be interesting. I wonder if there's any more info we can get out of it.
Yeah, the Bluesky. But yeah, it's like you thought that would be one and done. Like he got paid out doing his thing, but maybe he's like an entrepreneur and, you know, a developer at the end of the day, right? Like he just wants to start new projects.
You got to ask why he's doing it now, though.
Yeah.
Is it a cash grab or is it a ideological thing where he wants to like start from scratch, trying to build something up that he wished they could have done initially?
Or is it something that he's had sort of like on the back burner, sort of developing for a while and was probably going to launch it at some point? Yeah, who knows? Like, is Jack Dorsey idealistic or a business person at the end of the day?
Yeah. Give me a second because you've you do this. I'll keep you talking.
Yeah. Oh, you're not in the look my window.
You opened it up.
Yeah, sorry, I was in the wrong one.
Yeah, that's on you. So take accountability.
We can open up the other screen. I can switch it over. It's fine.
I just want to find some more information about it. Bluesky is now available in closed beta. I want to know more about it. Like, what is different about it? What is different?
Yeah, what is different about Twitter? Maybe just ask that question in the old Googles. What is different about Bluesky? Someone would have a blog post or something somewhere about it.
All right, I'm kind of bored with it already. So just a basically decentralized Bluesky Twitter alternative. Because I mean, when Elon Musk took over Twitter, once he started uncovering and going into the archives, there was a lot of political propaganda and stuff,
yes,
or ideologies that were floating amongst the company and between the ranks. about what can be done, what can be toggled on and off or throttled on and off in terms of what's shown and what's not shown, and like some agendas behind the scenes, right? So essentially this would remove all of that bias.
Yeah, I wonder if he like had no control when they wanted to intervene, that kind of thing. Like I wonder if there was just like, you know, legislation be like, yo, you know, you have to stop this or whatever it is, or he got like manhandled into, you know, having to, you know, not shadow ban, but, you know, quieten some of those voices.
Yeah, well, a lot of the government officials were sort of, I guess, paying them off to like promote things or to hold things back from the feed, from showing people, especially around the election time. A lot of that stuff was, I guess they can just throttle the reach of some accounts. Like we know the other week, apparently Elon Musk wanted to have his reach increased for one of his posts because it wasn't getting seen enough of something. And it was like a late night phone call to a bunch of the developers to like change the coding or whatever to increase.
So everybody sees his posts. Yeah. Well, that's true. Like when I open up the Twitter app, like it's usually one of his posts is like the first ones that I see at the top. Yeah.
And you go into the trending and it's the same. It's just his post.
Yeah.
So it could be an alternative. We're just doing app review, like future apps now, apparently.
Not necessarily. It's just what we're like, we're talking about writing and this is like a big thing that's happening. So,
I mean, there's always room for more apps, especially when everyone's going to start charging subscription models.
100%. And there's so many apps been and gone. Like I think I was listening to like a podcast episode yesterday and they just mentioned something about Vine. Like remember how popular Vine was and then it sort of disappeared. And, you know, TikTok is, you know, so huge at the moment. And like, what's the longevity of TikTok going to be like? Is it going to be around for a while or is it going to sort of like die out? And then in the end of the day, it's still just going to be, you know, Facebook, Instagram and YouTube.
Well, speaking of TikTok, they have added a new feature or a new restriction on their account for teenagers.
Is this in Australia or America? US edition.
Probably globally. TikTok will automatically limit teen app usage to 60 minutes per day. So let's discuss this and then we'll actually break down what it actually is.
Okay. So like hypothesizing what it could be?
No, I know what it is, but you don't.
No, I don't.
So like before we actually get down to what that actually means, you tell me what you're thinking here. Like what are your thoughts? Well, TikTok will automatically limit teenagers' usage to up to 1 hour.
Yeah.
So they can't use it for more than 1 hour.
Like, is it just, how are they going to enforce this? Is this like a law that they're passing that they're then going to enforce onto
part of the code? It's part of the app.
Part of the coding and stuff. So interesting. So if they're doing that, are they just trying to, because I know there's like laws and stuff wanting TikTok to be banned in the US. So are they doing this to sort of, I guess, stop them from being banned? So they've actually like putting some like guidelines in there. So they've got like some safety nets and stuff and be like, yo, don't fully ban us here.
Yeah. So a lot of the government officials, there's a lot of people that work for private enterprise or have government roles and the app is banned from like their phone. Like they have like a work phone or something.
Yeah.
So they can't use it there. But there are some politicians and lawmakers that are kind of pushing for it to be banned entirely across the US.
Right.
So, yeah, this is one way to just show that they do care about the user base and are putting things into place in terms of putting restrictions and like keeping mental health in check for these young people that are on there all day, every day, because they know it's such an addictive algorithm.
Yeah.
They want to show that there is some concern for their users.
Because isn't like the big thing is just like that tracking aspect and the collection of data. Like that's what it's really doing. That's what people are worried about.
Yeah. So it seems like a good headline, but let's break down what it actually entails, right?
Okay. Tell me more.
Tell me more.
Tell me more.
TikTok, in an effort to show it's being a good internet citizen, introduced new features to cap the time kids can spend on the video app. In the next few weeks, every TikTok account belonging to a user under the age of 18 will automatically be set to a 60-minute daily screen time limit. But if the 60-minute limit is reached, teens will be prompted with a passcode in order to continue watching, which requires them to make an active decision to extend their time.
Right. So it's not really so it's not really a cap on there because they can just...
It's a prompt.
Yeah.
It's a prompt. It's a notification. If you're a teen, do you think you're going to be like, oh, yeah, they're right. I should go do my homework now.
No.
Of course, they're just going to be like, swipe that put that code in and just continue
100%.
using.
It just reminds me of the old school, like, I think it was like 9gag. Like, you'd scroll and just watch memes and stuff, and then it'd be like, just keep scrolling, and then you click that button, just keep going. Like, you just don't even pay attention to it anymore. So eventually what will probably happen is it'll keep prompting up every 60 minutes. They'll just pop it in without paying attention.
Well, think about how little discipline adults have. Like, I did have an app on my computer to be like, get up and, or even your Apple Watch, get up and stand. You've been sitting down for too long. Or, you've been working for 4 hours straight on the computer, or your screen, like, have some away screen time.
Yes.
And what do? You just swipe it away and keep working.
You do. You look at it
so
and be
what's
like,
a kid going to do if they're watching addictive videos?
They're just going to keep watching.
Exactly. I mean, it's better than nothing, but there has to be like some sort of bigger override feature. Which
the under 13 one makes sense.
So for TikTokers users under 13, the daily screen time limit will also be set to 60 minutes. And for these accounts, a parent or guardian must enter a passcode to enable 30 minutes of additional watch time. Teens that are 13 and older can simply ignore or opt out of the 60-minute default. If users disable the 60-minute screen time limit and spend more than 100 minutes on the app per day, TikTok will prompt them to set a daily screen time limit. So basically, it's like gives you a warning at 60, gives you a second warning at 100, and at that point, like, it's just free game. Or your parents can step in and control it. So you'd hope that some parents have a bit of a reasonable perspective on like how much time should be spent on here. But
there's also
there's a lot of workarounds essentially.
I know. I was gonna say, like, when you sign up to the account, you just select your age as over 18.
So dumb.
Yeah. Like, there's heaps of like tech savvy kids out there. They'll just sign up, or, if you sign in through your Google or whatever it is, you just set your age at a different age, like over 18, and then you just don't get that prompt at all.
Yeah. It's a lot of videos to watch in 1 hour. I mean, I've never spent more than 20 minutes on there in a row.
No. Like, going to the bathroom, flicking through, or whatever it is.
I mean, you just spend a lot of time in the bathroom.
I don't.
Not 60 minutes.
No.
Maybe we should have a toilet sensor. You've been on here for 60 minutes. It's time to
like,
stand up,
are you just
stretch your
chilling
legs
on your phone, or,
That could be a good app, actually. Toilet time.
Well, it's like the people used to have like magazines and like books in the toilet because they used to stay on there. It's just been replaced by the phone now.
Yeah, if you can complete a whole crossword while on the toilet, you're either really good at crosswords or really bad at pooping.
Yeah.
I was going to make it sound more scientific, like passing excrement.
Fecal matter.
Fecals.
Yeah. Super smart.
But even then, if you're on the toilet for an hour playing your Nintendo Switch, then your parents should be like, you've been pooping for an hour.
Sorry, my stomach hurts.
Animal Farm. I'm hunting animals. I don't know what the game actually is.
I think you got like cultivating a farm, not hunting animals.
Cultivating a big poop, big steamer. So that's. Is there any more app news for this week, or that's
app news? No, like besides the usual, like, I don't know. Elon Musk is making news somewhere about something, but I think we talk about him enough.
I'm sick of talking about Elon.
I know. Yeah, which is why didn't have any in there. What was one pretty interesting? Let's have a look at the articles that I have here.
Don't drag it on too long.
No, sorry.
We've got retention to hold.
You got the Dave Ramsey articles. That one's a little bit about finance and business.
Pick one.
Or we can go with the Matt McConaughey one, which is interesting. So
Matt McConaughey. Oh, you just shortened his name.
Give him a nickname. We're best friends. My buddy old Matt McConaughey.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So Salesforce, they're a huge company, right?
So let's read the headline.
Yeah.
Salesforce is paying Matt McConaughey. Is McConaughey? Hey?
McConaughey.
Right, Mr. Mackey.
He's from Austin, right?
True.
Yeah.
Salesforce is paying Matthew McConaughey reported $10 million a year for creative help despite laying off 8,000 employees. So they laid off 8,000 staff and employed the one Maddie M.
Yes, Maddie M.
Maddie M.
So
what's that? Oh, we've got to pay for this
it
article?
wasn't when I looked at it the first time. It wasn't.
This article, Fortune, again, we can't afford these online subscriptions.
No.
Because we're a low budget pod.
We are.
So I'm relying on you to give the goods.
So when I was reading this, this is so frustrating about these pay ones, right? Because you get to see it once, right? And then you save the link and it's like, oh, by the way, this is behind a paywall. I'm like, but I literally just read you like 10 minutes ago.
All right, let me save you with a free version.
Free version.
But keep going.
Yeah. So Salesforce is a huge like web-based company. They do a lot of cloud aspects. They, have like a huge market share. And as a lot of these big companies go, they have, celebrity endorsements or advertisements or things like that. Like it's not only like Nike or Adidas or like Pepsi or Coke or whatever. Like companies like this also have like celebrities and stuff that do help promote their content. But I think the biggest thing is after the layoffs and stuff, they found that he's one, like still employed. But two, him and the CEO are like best buds and like they go on retreats and stuff together and all that kind of thing. So whether it's like a bit of a backhanded deal or things like that.
I think it's just the rich guys hanging out with rich guys. Rich guys make deals with other rich guys.
Yeah.
Or famous guys.
Yeah, potentially. Because there was the big Super Bowl ad.
So what's he, so you want to watch the Super Bowl ad first. All right. So he's basically a creative contributor to the company, which would just mean advertising, coming up with ideas, idea generation.
Or actually just being in their ads for them.
Or just a spokesperson.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So this is an ad that was shown at the Super Bowl, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Featuring Maddie, what we call him? Maddie M?
Maddie M, my best friend Maddie M.
Space. The boundary of human achievement.
That voice.
The new frontier.
It's not time to escape. It's time to engage. It's time to plant more trees. It's time to build more trust. Time to make more space for all of us. So while the others look to the metaverse and Mars, let's stay here and restore ours. Yeah, it's time to blaze our trail. Because the new frontier, it ain't rocket science. It's right here.
So it's going for that human element, the relationship, tying almost like tying everyone, all of the US citizens together. Like some of these brands are like kind of on different political spectrums. They don't really like show it, but it's like trying to tie in, because that's a beautiful thing about Matthew McConaughey. He's like the everyman's man. Like everyone loves him, left, right, center. Everyone loves him. Yeah. So he's just trying to tie everyone in, get everyone involved in. What does Salesforce even do? What do? They're a customer relations network or something? Yeah. Software?
They build a lot of like the behind the scenes sort of stuff. So like Telstra use Salesforce, for example. Like they, help build websites and help with like cloud storage and all that kind of stuff. So they've got like hand in a lot of different pies.
So it's a software company, big tech. And they're having a shot at like Meta going into like VR and stuff while people are going online digital. We're trying to connect in person, how business has always sort of been done, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's a cool ad. I mean, you can't not enjoy seeing him and hearing his voice. So as a celebrity or a figure to have representing your company, good choice. But is he worth the 8,000 staff laid off? Probably.
Probably. But do these celebrity endorsements actually work? Do these spokespeople actually work? Does it make a difference for the company? Do you follow a company or buy something for the company or use the company purely because of the celebrity that's the face of it?
It's hard to tell. And it's one of these things you can't tell for many, many months, many, many years. And it comes down to sales. You can't just be like, oh, it's working because people have viewed the ad. You tell if more people pay for the product or start going up the subscription tier or up in the quality of the services that Salesforce provide. Like if they're just going up and up and up because they're using it more and more, then it's worth it. So it's $10 million per year he's getting paid for this.
It's a lot of money. Like, but how much does like an ad cost now these days? How much were the Super Bowl ads to make?
I think 6 or 7, something like that.
Yeah, so pretty expensive. But again, like he's quite a creative person, right? Like there's I actually haven't read it and really want to, his Green Book, his like autobiography about his like diaries and stuff. Apparently he narrates it, which would be a really interesting like audiobook to listen to.
It's been out for a little while. Apparently I've heard mixed reviews. Obviously mixed in terms of good and bad.
Yeah.
Or just like not bad, but just fluff.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Salesforce cloud computing giant, whatever that means, right? That could mean a million different things. And it probably is a million different things.
Yeah.
So your question is like, do celebrities like help sell product? Yes, they do. Of course they do. Depending on the size of the the person. Like look at Logan Paul and KSI.
Yeah.
I mean, they started their own one from scratch. So it's easier to get on board with that as opposed to jumping on an established brand that has a celebrity that's just now part of the payroll. Like what M&M's recently added, what's that comedian? We're going to talk about it the other week, M&M's.
M&M's? What? M&M's comedian?
M&M's, the chocolate.
Oh, the chocolate. I have no idea.
Oh my God, you literally brought this up.
Did I? M&M's comedian?
No, M&M's have employed a comedian to like do ads and stuff for them.
I know. I don't remember this at all.
Spokesperson, Maya Rudolph. We literally were going to talk about this a fortnight ago. M&M's spokes candies are back for good after Maya Rudolph's Super Bowl ad debut. So same thing. I think they're getting flack about whatever, like some of their logos or their mascots, these M&M characters. So they scrapped them and then employed Maya Rudolph. Do you know who Maya Rudolph is?
No.
I swear you're just playing dumb just to spite me in the middle of this episode.
No, like I know what you did in passing, but I think, Maya Rudolph. Okay, I know who she is now.
You know the article now, right?
Like I remember the headline. I didn't read the article though. Yeah.
You're a headline reader, just like me.
No, it was
Pod's
like
not going
it
anywhere.
didn't make the cut. It didn't make the cut, so I didn't go into it.
Anyway, my point is like, can a celebrity like not save a company, but can they increase attention and awareness when like the sales are on a downward slope? It can be done. Like, who else are you going to employ? You're going to just like what are your other options?
Like,
make new products, and then you still have to run ads for those new products.
You still have to market it and stuff. Well, that's actually like a fair point because you know the old like PC versus Mac ads as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and they had like Justin Long and stuff in it. Apparently, that really helped as well, which was like a super interesting thing. So it really helped because it was more about.
And
it was an Apple ad, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And that really helped, I think, Apple come up because they were just doing these really funny comparisons and these really engaging ads and everything.
From 2007. I forgot about this.
Yeah.
These were actually cool ads back in the day.
They were super fun, yeah.
We'll talk while it's loading.
Yeah, sorry.
Hello, I'm a Mac.
My fellow Americans, I'm a PC.
Why so official?
Well, some people are giving up on Vista Mac because it doesn't work the way they want it to. Other people are going back to XP.
Really? Downgrading?
Yes, but we PCs won't give up. If your printer isn't compatible with Vista, I say, buy a new printer. If Mac's new Leopard operating system has dozens of new features, I say, ignore them. Ask not what Vista can do for you. Ask what you can buy for Vista.
Wow, you're really committed to this.
Oh, not really. I switched back to XP 3 weeks ago. So much happier.
Old school iMac.
Yeah.
What is Justin Long doing now?
Some sort of actor of some sort. He's of Galaxy Quest. That was a good one that he was in.
So the question is like, what are your other options?
Yeah, but then you're also sort of relying on that celebrity if they're going to be like a long-term spokesperson to make sure they're okay and they don't do anything wrong as well. Because to say if they do something wrong, then that can negatively affect the company as well.
Interesting, like Kanye and Adidas.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it actually affected Adidas worse than Kanye, to be honest.
I don't know about that.
Oh, no, wasn't
Adidas is still selling shoes. Kanye, not so much.
But isn't there whispers like Adidas want him back because their sales have decreased or something like that?
It wouldn't surprise me. The thing is, with this sort of stuff, how long, like if you do make a wrong move as a celebrity, first of all, like the negotiations and contracts aren't lifetime, you know, that you want to protect the brand and only have a small or short deal for 2, 3, maybe 5 years. But like the criticism and the downfall if they do something negative is sort of forgotten about relatively fast, unless it's like something quite extreme, like heavy racism towards Jews, like Kanye did.
Yeah.
But I think most brands can like bounce back quite fast.
Yeah, because
the news cycle is just so fast.
Yeah, I was about to say, we've talked about this before, like how quick the news cycle is. It just goes in and out within like a month. Like unless if
less than that, even just a week, there's new stuff. If there's a big enough event going on, it's forgotten about straight away.
Yeah, it was like them, like all the weather balloons and stuff. Like no one's talking about it anymore. Like it was such like a busy week, and then
apparently only one of them was from China.
Oh, really?
There was, like I was going to bring this up a few episodes ago, there was, when you look into it, some of them were just from private, Biden came out and said some of them are from, or maybe from private enterprises or hobby groups. and there's just people that are like make them for hobby. Like there's like, you know, like a local team of like teenagers or young adults that are into like
a school project or something.
Essentially a school project,
Yeah.
and they've saved up $20,000 to build it or whatever and launched it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they were literally like 2 days before it got shut down, like reported, or like the day it got shut down, reported that like they lost communication with their balloon.
Oh.
And then they, like everyone linked it together, and it was essentially just like a community project.
Far out. Could you imagine like these school kids, like have made a fundraiser,
Just some
sold
science
cookies
team.
or whatever it is. Yeah. A little group of like nerdy kids and stuff, and they're like super excited and got the data, and they're like, get shot down by like a, $30 million aircraft.
Well, the thing is, the amount that it costs to like launch one of those, I mean, what do you shoot it down with?
Like missiles,
A missile,
right?
a rocket, yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
What?
Yeah, so they've just shot like I don't. It would take me ages to find the like a correct article, but in terms of like trying to, well, not trying to, but launching the jet or whatever's going to shoot the missile, and then actually shooting the thing down, you're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayer money
Far out.
to shoot down essentially a harmless
School project.
school balloon.
Oh, how heartbreaking.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you haven't heard about that in the news for like 2 weeks now. Like,
Yeah.
what's in the news cycle now? Went to Super Bowl, and now it's still a bit of Russia stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. What is there?
I don't even know. Like, I've just, like, because I don't watch traditional news. Like, because traditional news is just, it's bullcrap, to be honest.
Oh,
Oh.
tell that to the journalists that are doing hard, groundbreaking news.
I don't know. Like, it's a lot of fluff most of the time. Like, and it's just
Sounds like this podcast, to be honest.
coming at you next week, more fluff.
Well, like I'm looking at news.com.au, that this is fluff. Like some of the articles they put on here are just ridiculous.
And it's just like a lot of ads and stuff as well.
World put on alert as deadly virus spreads. Woman facing eviction blows up her house.
What?
Worst schools in Australia. Cutthroat Aussie company. Lawyer found guilty of murdering. Oh, well, that's pretty horrible. Music legend dies. Family of, did you see this? Family of vaping baby speaks out.
What?
So someone caught got footage of some family. I'm not going to go into it because it's horrifying.
Yeah.
That was caught or filmed giving their 10-month-old baby a vape and like laughing about it and stuff. And they questioned the family. The family's like, you should be more concerned what's going on in your own backyard. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're
Oh my God, that's so bad.
so horrible. So like, I don't want to talk about negative shit on this pod because there's like too much negative shit out there.
No, of course. Yeah.
I mean, some mystery Aussie wakes up $40 million richer. That's kind
Is
of
that
dope.
you? No, I wish.
I would not be here doing this pod right now. I'll be on my jet doing the pod.
Yeah. But that's actually an article that I have, is the hidden corridor found in the pyramids.
Well, let's go into that.
Yeah. There's actually been a few discoveries in not only space and stuff, which we can talk about because I love talking about that sort of space stuff, but there's also a few like archaeological ones as well. So they found a 4,500-year-old hidden corridor under the Great Pyramid of Giza.
4,500-year-old, so 2,000 years before Christ.
Jesus? Yeah. It's a joke. Sorry.
Don't joke about that.
No, sorry.
I mean, speaking of news, before we get into this,
Mhm.
you know the project?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
You see they got slammed, had to apologise for a joke that a comedian made?
I know.
That's how sensitive people are these days.
They're a comedian. They make jokes.
I
That's what they
know.
do.
It's like a flamboyant, like...
No, so
gay-
drag queen.
Oh, it's a
drag
drag
queen?
queen?
Yeah, drag queen, sorry.
made a
Yeah.
joke about Jesus,
Mm.
and then they had to come and they laughed at it in real time, which is if you're a human and you find it funny, you'd laugh. Like
Yeah.
that just shows how censored they have to be on like national TV and have to apologize the next day for a joke. Like where the fuck? Like what are we turning into? Like nanny state? You can't laugh at anything.
I know, like it's like they're meant to make jokes about these things, like just so.
Especially if it's like a flamboyant drag queen.
Yeah, I know. And
Drag king, is that a thing?
No, yeah. Well, drag king is when females will dress up as males, and then drag queen is when males will dress up as females.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a bit
Old.
a bit old fashioned. I grew up in the 80s.
I've actually been to a drag show. Super fun. Super fun.
Not for me. I went and seen Rocky Horror once and that was enough for me.
Rocky Horror is fun. Like Rocky Horror ones always get you like super engaged as well. Like you have to be. I think there's like a thing where
Yeah.
you throw spoons and stuff. Isn't
My
it?
word of advice is don't be in the front row at a Rocky Horror show.
Unless if that's your thing, and then be in the front row.
And be in the front row. Otherwise, you'll probably get a lap
Yeah.
dance.
But yeah, super fun with those kind of things. But is Channel 10 just like owned by like some sort of big Christian groups or whatever.
Oh,
and
probably, but it's more just like
people can't make jokes these days.
It's just fucking so sensitive. Just so sensitive.
I read the joke and it was actually pretty funny.
It's funny, but it's not worth like making a 1 minute apology about when you're
Is
not
it
the
a
one that
1
made
minute
the
apology?
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for like like having that guest on that made that inappropriate. Like get the fucking. But the thing is, they apologize for it, and we're talking about the speed of the news cycle. No one cares today anyway.
No.
So what's the point of like making a big deal about it in like a 1 minute out of a 1 hour show, and then it's forgotten about the next day anyway? Like they're just trying to save their jobs and save advertisers from like getting any backlash or whatever.
Yeah, and then you know a journalist will write about it because there's a bit of drama.
Yeah,
that's
and then
happening.
a journalist
Yeah.
just they gets paid their normal wage anyway. Like it's just dumb. That's why like there needs to be just more podcasts where people aren't beholden to some fucking stupid overlord that's purely there for like advertising revenue.
Yeah.
And you have to censor everything you're saying.
Yeah, it's just like your opinion and, you know, we're not smart, so it's just like, you know, our average opinions.
Like if it was
but
super
yeah.
outrageous, yes. But if it's just like a joke that's probably been milling over in the back of his mind and he's probably said 100 times and just waiting for the chance to say it again.
It seems like when I read the joke as well, it just seems like a joke that would be a popular saying or a popular thing they would say all the time.
And it's like 2 seconds. It's
and
just
we get
something
so
you're saying.
many laughs.
You're just saying it in passing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Mhm.
It's worrying. I'd like to think that we're pretty open to like just general comedy and lenient with like those sort of things. Like obviously if it's like hate speech or something dramatic like that and hurtful, I get it. But if it's just like, oh, we pissed off the 30% of viewers that are Christian, then it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, they're going to forget about it in a week's time and continue watching the project because it's
Yeah.
probably one of the fewer half decent like news ones out there. No, you like Sunrise?
It's all fucking trash.
Yeah, it is. That's it.
News.com, however, we shouldn't even be giving these guys a click, but we are. So scientists discover a 4,500-year-old hidden corridor in under the Great Pyramid of Giza. Scientists have made a stunning discovery inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, the last surviving structure of the 7 wonders of the world. And we're actually the 9th wonder here on the podcast. This podcast is...
Oh, we're a wonder?
It's a wonder why we exist.
Is your hair need?
Oh, no,
So
no ads.
scientists have discovered a hidden passage inside Egypt's Great Pyramid, standing 146 meters tall, the only surviving structure of the 7 wonders of the world. The corridor was built 4,500 years ago. It has 3 known chambers, and like other pyramids in Egypt, was intended as a pharaoh's tomb. Newly discovered gabled corridor with a triangular ceiling is 9 meters long and more than 2 meters wide and found on the north face. So interesting. What does that mean for us?
Well, it just makes me think of, you know, Ancient Apocalypse, right? We did an episode on that.
Go back and check it out.
Yeah.
Episode 30-something, 40-something.
Yeah, it's actually one of the few ones that actually did quite well on YouTube. So, but the whole idea of that was just talking about an ancient civilization. But when they have these big old structures, they're actually built on pre-existing structures and things like that. So this is just like almost reconfirmation that, you know, there is more below the surface and below, you know, what these actual structures are. Like they're older than what they think they are. They had maybe other intentions and things like that. Like it's just super interesting that, you know, this has been around for ages. Like Egypt's been, you know, in archaeological digs for so long, yet they're still discovering new things all the time. So it's just like how much effort has actually gone into finding new information, really.
It says here, a hidden corridor has been spotted close to the main entrance of the pyramid. So like, was it just like a secret trapdoor?
Yeah, like how many hidden, like look how massive the pyramid is. Like how many more hidden corridors are there, like in that giant structure?
Crazy.
Yeah, but I think as more like, you know, because I think it was the technology they used was like an invasive like scanning sort of radar thing. So I think as technology improves, oh, sorry, my English is bad today. As technology improves, they're potentially going to be discovering more, which is amazing. Like technology is going heaps further, but when it comes to like science and discovery, and I think that's what we talked about in the Ancient Apocalypse episode, is a lot of it's like self-funded. sometimes government funded and things like that. They just don't have a lot of resources to discover new information.
It's just technology limitations. Like they're saying here, that you got to send in robots and stuff and do have special scanning equipment, which is only going to develop over time as well, right?
Yeah. And there's a lot of times there's not a lot of money in this sort of endeavor. It's more of the,
because there's nothing to how can you monetize it?
The only value is in like in education and knowledge.
Yeah. Which it doesn't give you any money unless you can run like a blog that makes money and it's going to generate like $2,000. Like the actual cost to like do this research, there's no real payoff other than, like you said, uncovering more knowledge. But it's not like they can just open this up to the public to go and wander down because it's probably hella unsafe. You've got to send robots in.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's interesting where the money comes from, whether it's like the tourism boards or just some rich billionaire that's really into it, can invest a lot of funds into discovery. But yeah, maybe that's the reason why a lot of this stuff takes forever to uncover, is purely like there's no financial upside.
Yeah. There's like,
and it also changes the history books to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
People have to update things or change information.
Which costs money.
Which costs more money. So yeah, it's an expensive endeavor.
Yeah. 100%.
So what else do you have? We want to go. Japan found 7,000 islands it didn't know it had. This
was an article I just found this morning, actually. Like I said, there's actually been a few discoveries this week, which is cool.
So although not financially centered around hustling, finding a hidden corridor and finding 7,000 islands, I would say, is in the realm of being a hustler.
Yeah, because
more of an explorer, but kind of a hustler.
Well, someone's out there, working for it, right?
Working for that.
Working for it.
Wow.
Richard Branson, if you're listening, we found a new island for you.
To buy 7,000 of them.
7,000.
Take your pick. Just buy 10 of them.
Yeah, why not?
They're probably not very big though.
No.
What would be interesting about this is looking at the wildlife on them, because I know in like Galapagos Islands, for example, when I studied evolutionary biology, back when I was at uni, there's so many different species that only thrive on one island, and each island has its own variation of like a different bird or a lizard, depending, because it can't like travel between islands and stuff.
Yeah.
So there potentially might be a bunch of different species, plant species, animal species.
Yeah. Well, Australia is a prime example for that because we're quite isolated. We have a lot of, interesting, unique animals and stuff.
But what I'm saying is that if you have 7,000 islands, there might be 7,000 variations of the same animal. That's
gotcha.
like Galapagos is like there's multiple islands.
Gotcha.
And the lizards and the birds have different traits, like a longer beak on this island because there's only this plant that grows there.
I see.
So like having 7,000, there's probably a lot of variability in the genealogy of the different species.
Yeah.
Whereas Australia is like one big continent. So like I hear what you're saying, but you just got a couple of types of kangaroos. You don't have 1,000 types of kangaroos.
That's true.
Sorry. Just more of a scientist, I guess.
I know you are.
Japan has recounted its islands and discovered it has 7,000 more than it previously thought. Digital mapping by the Geospatial Information Authority of Japan, GSI, recently found that there to be 14,000 islands in Japanese territory, more than double the figure that has been in official use since the 1987 report by Japan's Coast Guard. So again, rewriting the history books, everything going forward has to change all those numbers. So that's an expensive endeavor. However, the GSI this week stressed that the new figure reflected advances in surveying technology and the detail of the maps used for the count. It did not change the overall area of the land of Japan's possession. So same land area.
They've just discovered more.
Distinguished more individualized islands. The entailed counting all naturally occurring land areas with a circumference of at least, so they have to be at least 100 meters in circumference to be classified as an island.
It'll also just be like a rock in the ocean.
Small rock, depending on the tides. That's pretty much all there is. So that's interesting. So they're not huge, but they are distinguishable little islands.
And like you were saying, there would be so many interesting different like variations of plants and all that kind of stuff on there as well.
It's one thing to find like 100 islands, but like an extra 7,000, pretty insane. Pretty insane.
Yeah, and like there's quite a few countries like that are just made up of islands. Like imagine just like mapping it out and they're like, guys, we miscounted on the amount of islands we have.
We didn't carry the one.
There's actually 7,000 more that we didn't realize we had.
That's crazy. It's crazy. And there's not much mentioned. I guess it's really early news.
Super, like it happened
But
like
again,
this morning.
they're very small. It doesn't look like they're massive. 100 meters. And it depends on how separated or distant they are apart. So my point of different species being spread across them might not be super valid because they're quite close together. Interesting nonetheless.
But I always think this is like, especially somewhere like that. So just imagine, thousands and thousands of years ago, like if the water recedes, it used to just be one big landscape, right? And then these are just the peaks of the mountains that you see poking through.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool discovery, hey.
Cool, very cool discovery. So I don't have much more to add on that other than those flowers look pretty.
They do look pretty. I've always wanted to go to Japan. I'd love to go to Japan.
All right.
I think it'd be really nice. But not so like Tokyo, like more of like going into the landscape and stuff.
Into the landscape.
Yeah, like into the mountains and into the countryside and.
Well, what's the main mountain? Fuji.
Mount Fuji.
Mount Fuji. Yeah. That's probably the go-to spot. I think it's some distance from. I think it's like maybe an 8-hour train ride. One of those speed trains out there.
Yeah.
Mount Fuji is probably where you want to go. Looks really nice.
Super beautiful.
Sheesh.
Really, really nice. So yeah, I'd love to go there.
Look at that
Obviously,
shot
I'd
with
love
the pink
cherry blossoms.
Are they cherry blossoms?
Yeah,
are
cherry
they?
blossoms.
Damn,
Yeah.
that's a shot and a half.
Oh, super nice. Like I'd love to go. Like it's such a rich history.
But it's such a small little island as well. Like it's been around so long. You have thousands of years of culture and history there. Different wars are being fought between them and like China and different countries. But it's just crazy how much history comes from such a small landmass.
No, 100%. And there's always because we're heaps into like stoicism and like the philosophy aspect and stuff at the moment. And you've got the whole, samurai and how their thesis and how they live as well, which is always super interesting. So yeah, such a beautiful culture and so interesting and so ancient.
What's the best movie we can watch about Japan? Best movie about Japan?
I'd say Last Samurai, but that was actually filmed in New Zealand.
Well, we got Bullet Train with that Snake Eyes? No. Action movies set in Japan. Best movies to watch before traveling to Japan.
Oh. Yeah,
Akira?
Akira?
No, that's an anime. I want to see some visuals.
Battle Royale.
This is supposed to be really
Godzilla.
good. Jiro Dreams of Sushi is supposed to be really, really good. But
Haven't we seen that one?
I don't think so. I'm big on documentaries, but I know it's a really, really good one, but I haven't seen it. I think he spends like 50 years. Yeah, over 50 years. He spends this mastering sushi.
Yeah, that's another thing I love about Japan is like all these little restaurants or just like the tradespeople in Japan, they'll learn, they learn from their father.
They commit their entire lives to learning literally just doing the rice for sushi or just cutting the fish for sushi.
Or just making the noodles or just doing the sauce and stuff, which is...
Battle Royale is supposed to be cold. I remember getting that on VHS from Video Easy back in the day. Battle Royale is supposed to be highly, highly...
dystopian thriller.
Inspired by it inspired Quentin Tarantino back in the day, kind of like a
he's inspired by
Hunger Games, kind of Squid Games.
Yeah, he's inspired by the old school like kung fu movies and stuff as well, isn't he? Yeah.
My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh, I love this one. 1988. That is our birth year. Very, very old.
Tokyo Idols. I've only heard of a couple of these. All right. Well, we've got some, I guess, saving to do first and foremost, but then some movies to watch. What's this one? Lost in Translation.
Bill Murray.
Ah, man, we need to
we need like a proper a watching list, right?
Well, we had that Letterboxd app that we signed up to but haven't used since. But I just forget about movies so frequently. Like I watch them and then I forget about them half a decade later.
Yeah. There's just a lot out there. There's just a lot of content to watch, a lot of books to read, just so much.
I know. If you've got time to watch a movie a day, you're living a pretty good life.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can barely get through an episode of like Last of Us in one night. Like it's usually spread over 3 nights.
Next week, let's do a
next.
Monday is coming out. Monday that's coming is the end of the season, and let's incorporate that into next week's show. So
for sure.
If you've been watching Last of Us, here our I guess we'll do spoilers.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, we'll do spoilers. Everyone's loving Pedro at the moment, so.
Speaking of Pedro, I watched last night. We've got 5 minutes here. We'll wrap it up here. Last night, I watched 2 movies.
What? You were like, I didn't have enough time to do pod prep, but here you are, like, just watching 2 movies.
See, now I'm pulling out the movie reference for a pod prep.
Yeah.
So I watched one movie, which is unrelated, called Mine. It's been out for a little while.
Yeah.
And it's one of these movies about just like one dude and just one circumstance. So you remember that movie? It was like the person's just floating in the ocean and just getting surrounded by sharks the whole time.
Is that the one with like the tiger and stuff?
No, that's Life of Pi. Shark movie floating in ocean. I'm going to Google that. It's a bit of a weird search. Open Water.
Oh, right.
You've seen that?
No, I don't
Where
think
it's just
so.
they're just floating in water the entire movie, and it's just 2 hours of stress
Oh my God.
of them about to get attacked the entire time.
No, thank you.
Alicia Silverstone.
Oh,
And it's just like all the near misses for like hours and hours. Like
yeah.
one shark will come, then another shark will come.
And they just like kick him in the nose the whole time?
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
just what's the main part of it? Like a good part of the story is the like not the fear, the
Like the peak of the, I know what you mean, but it's like just, oh no, it's the suspense, right?
suspense and then resolve. Suspense,
Yeah.
it's like something bad happens and there's a quick getaway. There's like they just get away from it. Then another thing happens.
The
It's
build-up,
The build up and the suspense.
Yeah.
It's that for 2 hours. But anyway, the one I watched last night is called Mine, and it's basically the same thing. But this I guess he's a Marine Army hammer steps on a mine.
Oh,
His friend gets blown up
yep.
on a mine. Then he steps on a mine, has to stand there for like 3 days, and that's the whole movie is just him on a mine trying to like deal with different things.
And he's in the middle of the desert.
And there's sandstorms and there's no water. It's just like, like I'm wondering how much it costs to like make one of these. This film in particular, because it's just one actor. Well, there's a couple of extras, but for the most part, one actor,
Yeah.
one location. You don't need that much CGI or extras or designing of sets or
Yeah.
anything. He's stepping on a mine and he can't move his foot the entire time.
Far
And
out.
it's just the emotional roller coaster.
Well, that reminds me, we can get back to this in a second, but I think there was like this big thing, phone booth with Colin Farrell. There's like a big thing that was like filmed in like 3 days or something and only cost like a certain amount of money because like the whole film is with him in a phone booth, like doing, I haven't seen the movie, but yeah, it's.
And you can pull them off. They can be good movies and the budget wouldn't be that much. But
No.
yeah, this was the first one I watched.
Yeah.
And then
Can you
after,
tell me the ending?
I honestly didn't watch the ending.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I was like, does he get off
I
there?
mean,
Does
this clip here, there's a guy tackling him off the mine, so I'm guessing he gets off the mine. Like, they wouldn't end it with him getting blown up by the mine. So
and he spreads everything out while he's on there, seeing if he can somehow like dismantle
survive.
the mine. Okay.
He's trying to just survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just like, that one image just looks like a, top down like YouTube one overhead.
But speaking of Pedro Pascal,
Yes.
I watched this one with Nicolas Cage called The Unbearable.
You watched a Nicolas Cage movie without me?
Yep. So it's called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. This has nothing to do with
I wanted to. How dare you watch something like this that looks terrible and it looks like I would be interested in it?
Well, it was actually good. And this is just Pedro Pascal because we're talking about Last of Us. I don't really have a point other than to tell you I watched it without you, to be honest. It's called The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and it's Nick Cage playing Nick Cage.
Gotcha.
And he's sort of like getting to the end of his career and like a washed up actor trying to find new roles and stuff. And this rich guy, I guess he's like Mexican. I'm not sure, like probably Mexican, I guess.
South American of some sort, maybe.
Played by Pedro Pascal, is like a massive fan and flies him out to like hang out with him for his island because he's got a script that he wants him to read and be in his movie.
Gotcha.
But he's also, Pedro Pascal's character's involved in like arms dealing and stuff like
So
that.
it's like some kind of like gangster.
Gangster.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all I'm going to tell you without ruining it.
Okay.
But it's Nicolas Cage, like being Nicolas Cage and like sort of going back through some of his movies and stuff and watching some of his movies.
Yeah.
And there's like cut scenes, or not cut scenes, but like scenes where it's like him and then a younger version of himself, like giving himself like a pep talk and advice.
Oh, that's
And it's
super
just-
interesting.
It's just Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage, like playing up the role that
Yeah.
he is Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, it sounds right up my alley.
Does it?
Yeah, it does.
Fuck. All right, well,
So rude.
have a break after this pod and you can watch it on your own.
I don't have time.
All right, we'll see you guys next week and we'll have a Last of Us recap.
Yeah.
And we'll have probably some more app news.
Oh, yeah, probably some app news, maybe some tech news. No Elon Musk news, though.
Strictly no Elon.
Yeah, strictly no Elon. Thanks for watching,
All right.
and we'll see you next time.
you next time.
Bye.